Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could please remain standing, we pause to recognize those in service that have given their lives this past month. We also have 2 young men who passed away this past week, and we lost a past community leader, Richie Rose. They will all be missed. I'd also like to, as we pause, recognize that tornadoes have been touching down in Oklahoma, and our prayers will go out to the communities and families. Thank you. Along with remembering, we have some congratulations. This one today. I'd like to congratulate Erin Leahy, who is now Mrs. Erin Faraday. She just got married locally. I want to congratulate her and her family. We're going to come off agenda for a minute on some of 1 or 2 of the things that I'd like to get going in our meetings. Because of the fact that we have the access to the TV, I feel it's important to get to the community as much information as we can, reinforcing some of the things that are in our local newspaper. So, tomorrow is school board election. We encourage all registered voters in Fort Montgomery and Highland Falls to come out. The polls are opening at 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Highland Falls Intermediate School on Mountain Avenue. Your voice can make the difference. You can pick up the News of the Highlands for more information on the candidates running. A little promo.
Thanks.
Get sales up. It is EMS week, and we have 3 of our EMS members here today. 4. Charlie, my bad. Ellen, okay. We have 4 members in uniform today, and I would like to recognize them at this point. We will have a proclamation for EMS week, and it will be in the paper tomorrow. I would just like to take a minute just to read you a few things. First of all, congratulations and thank you to all the EMS workers here in the town. Your service is phenomenal. This is the 60th year of the ambulance corps. They are celebrating 60 years of service. And over the years, the town of Highlands ambulance corps members have shown the caliber of professionalism and bravery. Just a few of their accomplishments. They went from the New York State Registered to New York State Certified Ambulance Service and passed by many Department of Health inspections. Received over $200,000 in grants. Became an ASHI training center with a member being a master instructor. Members have been recognized for life-saving from Congress, Orange County, NYSVRA, and the Orange County EMS Council, and the New York State Department of Health. And one member was awarded from Orange County as the EMS Leader of the Year. These are just a few of the accomplishments. One of the things they will be doing this week, and again we thank them, educating the children, both at the Fort Montgomery Elementary School and the Holy Angels of the Hudson Valley at Sacred Heart. The ambulance corps will be visiting both schools, educating the children about the ambulance as well as what the ambulance workers do. Again, thank you so much for your efforts. And all the members of the ambulance corps are phenomenal. But when I read received over $200,000 in grants, when I read a master instructor, I have to just take a moment and thank Bill Stropel for the countless hours that he puts in on his own time to the ambulance corps, to the whole crew. And again, I want to thank each and every member for all the time he put in. This goes from May 19th to the 24th, so if you get a chance, hug an EMS member today, all right? You have all week to do it. Memorial Day. Memorial Day ceremony is Memorial Day, and at 10 a.m. at Memorial Park in Highland Falls. We hope to see everybody there. There's a library gala on June 1st. Charlie Murphy is one of the co-chairs. Did you want to say anything about that, Charlie?
Well, the response has been so phenomenal from the community that we had to impose a deadline for RSVPs. People have to tell us that they're coming by May 25th. That's this week. And then we have to cut it off because the house that the party's going to be in can't hold any more people, which is a wonderful position to be in. And certainly the Friends of the Library appreciate all of the support, and I personally appreciate the 12 members of my committee who are knocking themselves out as well.
I want to thank Nick Badias for organizing the second annual National Pitch, Hit, and Run Tournament this past weekend. The Hudson Valley Women's Association is hosting a trip to the Museum of Natural History on Thursday. They'll also be hosting a formal wear fundraising event at the library. That happened today, and it will also be happening on Wednesday from 3 to 5. They're offering formal wear to girls and women. We want to thank a big thank you to the West Point Highland Falls Rotary for planting the American flags at the local cemetery this past weekend. Don't forget, this weekend is West Point graduation. It is this coming Saturday. If you are able, we're asking everyone to please display congratulations to the graduating cadets. We wish them all the best. Just around the corner, we have O'Neill graduation. So we're looking the month of June. You don't have to wait till last minute. Month of June, display your maroon and white.
And actually, there's signs for sale at the high school. Congratulations, O'Neill Class of 2013 for $10 in the school store.
At the school store at O'Neill, there are signs available congratulating the graduating class. This is that time to get out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start showing our support for all of our graduates this year. There will be a special ed support group meeting on Thursday, June 13th at 6 p.m. in the library. All community members are welcome. And again, why are we making these announcements? Well, I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people say nothing goes on, nothing's going on here, nothing's going on. We have a lot going on in our community. The problem is not many people know, and it's getting the word out. And we only have a few means of communication, so we want to take advantage of every time we can to inform the public that there are a lot of great things happening in the community. If you noticed, most of these happen because of organizations. 15, 20 years ago, there were a lot more organizations. For example, the Lions, the Knights of Columbus, several other organizations in town that held many events. And that's why more things went on in our community. We're trying to bring those groups back because they're the ones that will have more events occurring. We also want to recognize Vision for planting the beautiful cement flower boxes that are along the walls on Main Street. They look fantastic, and they are making preparations for more improvements along Main Street. I want to thank Pat Patterson and his crew and all those involved, as well as all the volunteers. It was a huge undertaking, and it was done very quickly and professionally. We have several community members talking about hosting fishing tournaments. Again, not the village hall's MO to host a fishing tournament. What it is the Fishing Game Club. So we are asking, we have about 15 to 20 people that are interested in reorganizing the Fishing Game Club. So if those people are out there that want to be part of that, they will be the ones to host fishing tournament, fishing derbies, as well as other events. And this is what our area is great for. So until we get a point of contact for the Fishing Game Club, you can contact me at the Village Hall. We'll take your name and number, and we'll get to the point of contact as soon as they start getting organized. Again, we are trying to reestablish the local Chamber of Commerce to help the growth and development of business in town. Again, not the board's effort to actually do the growth and the business of the businesses. It is the chamber. So we are trying to make sure the chamber gets reestablished and gets on its feet. I would like to thank the few members that kept the chamber alive to this point. And also thank Guts Gusradas. He is helping to get more businesses involved to reestablish the chamber. And that is in the news. Comments on the agenda? Oh, no, approval of the minutes for May 2nd.
I will move that we approve the minutes for May 2nd.
I have a motion for approval of the minutes. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Brown, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Comments on the agenda? Any comments on the agenda items? No?
Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
On the chamber, is it only business owners go to the meetings? You know,
No.
I'm not too familiar with that.
Anyone is able to be a part of the chamber and be involved in the chamber. The
So
purpose
would you like
is the growth and
volunteers?
development of business in the community. Yes, we'll take any volunteers you want. Okay.
Do you mind if I add to that? I spoke to Susan and she asked me about hosting June the 12th, it's a Wednesday at 5:30. We haven't put flyers
Oh,
yet, I'm
okay.
waiting for her to come back from vacation.
About that?
So we can coordinate on a Wednesday at 5:30.
June 12th?
Yes, and that's.
The time?
5:30.
5:30, June 12th, at the Side Street Saloon, will be one of the first meetings to try and reorganize the chamber.
Right.
All business members and any community members that want to get involved, please come to that meeting on June 12th. Thank you. Appointment of engineer. This is the appointment of engineer. We are appointing J. Robert Falchetti and Associates. I'm looking for that. What's that one? That's this one? Yeah. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees authorized the request for proposals from qualified engineer firms for general engineering, and whereas 5 proposals from qualified engineering firms were received and reviewed, now, therefore, be it resolved that J. Robert Falchetti and Associates, LLC, be retained by the Village of Highland Falls for general engineering purposes.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee DeSalvo, second? Second by Trustee Brown. Roll call?
Trustee DeSalvo.
Aye.
Trustee Mallon.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor Janelle. Mayor.
Aye. That's quite all right, that's quite all right. Okay, just to get to give the public some more information, this was very important to us to not just hold over the last year's, anyone who was involved with this last year. It's important to continue to go out on all our appointments and look for the best for the village. We are still looking at a possible another engineering firm that will be assisting us along with Falchetti, just for better quality services.
Just out of curiosity, which engineering firm is that?
The other engineering firm?
Yeah. Do we all have stuff on it, or is it just?
No, it's something that we're looking at as far as the other engineering is. I'm going to bring it to the table when it actually occurs, but it's what's Glenda Lowry's?
LaJudas is.
LaJudas, Barton and LaJudas. basically what they do is they're heavy grant writers, and they have worked in, many years past, they worked in the village alongside other engineering firms, where they would find the money for projects, and if, that's what basically we're looking for. And after talking to Falchetti, they had no problem if if Lugitis comes in, they found the money to completely finance a project, whether it be 5,000 or 50,000 or 500,000, that they had no problem with them coming in and doing the project, and if it's free money, it's free money. So Barton and Lugitis had approached us and said, you know, this is something we can do, and we had said to them, well, are you okay working on, if we didn't choose you as the main engineering firm, and they were quite all right with that. So that's something we're looking into. There's no set in stone on
I'm asking
that.
if it's in addition to the information that they subjected to try to get appointed as a village engineer.
No.
Would this be just like an assistant to whoever?
Kind of. It's basically just, they'll get a list of projects, and if they can find the money, then they'll go ahead with the project.
What's their cut?
Who's cut?
I'm assuming they get a cut if they get a grant, right?
They do the project, just like Falchetti does.
This the engineer on the project, that's considered,
Okay, approve TAM Enterprises for low bid, $324,000 for the wastewater treatment plant digester mixing equipment replacement.
I make a motion that we approve this. I had gone down and looked at the primary digester today, and it needs to be replaced. It's overdue, and I suggest we approve. I make the motion that we put aside the funding for this project. Let's approve the bid for TAM.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Can we just have a brief discussion?
Of course.
Gina, this is the mixer that went down and the insurance company is covering that?
No.
No,
This
this
is
is
the
the,
mixer that you got the bond for, $400,000.
but the insurance money that we did get, so the residents know,
Is for the grit.
for the grit chamber. And what did we end up getting from the insurance company for that?
It
Roughly?
should be roughly $300,000.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a second. All those in favor of approving TAM Enterprises as low bidder?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I have approval for a low quote of $10,800 from Doherty Concrete for installation of crosswalk from South Post to West Main Street, north of the Hannibal statue. This is a project that was started, I believe, several years ago. West Point did their cut in the fence across from Hannibal, and there is grant money available for this, and the purpose is to help guide the visitors that are at the visitor center over to the businesses on Main Street. So we're making a cut in the medium, as well as an additional crosswalk to try and bring them over to our side.
I thought this 10-8 came from unused snow surplus.
There's a $5,000 grant, and the remainder, which would be 5/8, would be from the unused snow.
Yeah, it did say that. No problem, sounds good.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
The second,
Is it contingent upon him completing by the date required for the grant?
Yes, it's contingent on him finishing by the 31st, which they are on schedule. We talked with them today. They are on schedule for the project, and it looks pretty good. I have a motion and second. Motion by Trustee DeSalvo, second by Trustee Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So move. We have a bond resolution amendment for $400,000 for water tank painting project. Before we motion, or is there a discussion?
Just really like a comment, just so the public knows, you know, we started at $550 for this water tank repainting project, Mr. McCormick was on the board then, not that it didn't need to be done, but just so the folks in the audience know and the folks at home, if we amend this bond resolution, we'll be looking at $950 for the total. That's not what we've expended, but that's the ceiling that we are potentially going to approve tonight for this bond of the water tanks. It's a lot of money, and I'm not saying whether I'm for it or against it at this point, I'm just saying it's a lot of money, and folks should know.
It is a lot of money, but it's something that has to be done because the tanks are in disrepair. And if we wait longer, it will just get worse and it will cost more money to fix. It's a very important part of our infrastructure that needs to be dealt with. Unfortunately, it's been left for too many years. And now we will be taking care of it, and this will last us a good amount of years. And I would like to thank all the people on the water department and all the other workers that are making it possible. Mr. McCormick.
Just a comment, there was $37,000 for a valve.
Oh yeah, I got the breakdown right here,
There
Joe.
was $20-some-odd thousand for the dam at Jim's Pond.
Look, I'm not arguing the expenditures.
Well,
I'm just saying it's a big,
Well, infrastructure is very
Big nut.
important, and I've fought for it all.
I understand that, I'm letting people know it's $950,000 potentially we could be spending.
It's something that has to be done.
And as you might know, one has been completed already, the small tank. And the large tank is not as bad as we expected it to be. So there's gonna be some savings there. And a few wells and a few spots that are gonna be waterproof and all this stuff here. So I think in 2 weeks, it should be on the way, Kevin.
They're trying to move the painters in earlier.
Yeah, and up to this point, it's gonna have to be sandblasted and scraped. That should be a 2 week of operation. It should be out of there. Right now, I was down there today, and everything seemed to be going real fine.
Yeah, it looks good up there, Al. The tank, the condition of the tank looks good. I never had the opportunity to look inside one, so it was quite interesting.
Oh, it's different than what we found in the small tank.
I understand that,
We had
yeah.
a possible $110,000 core to put in, and turned that around to epoxy a couple for $25,000. The worry was when you got into the big tank, what was the condition?
Right. That was in great shape.
Thank God it's in
Yeah.
good shape.
Yeah, we thought that would be worse than the small one.
Yeah.
Joe, what kind of warranty or guarantee do they offer? Like, how long is
They get 20 years,
30 years.
25 years.
30.
He told me 20, 25, 30 years, you could go back and paint it again.
And what happened really is back in 2002, when they were inspected, they were rusting. Nothing was done until 2012. Okay, so it could have been a lot worse than it really is.
So in terms of our 6-year capital funding plan that we need to put in place, we should be
Inspecting
money
It was $1,500 to inspect the fence.
Well, inspecting, but I think Charlie's actually pointing out that we need to make sure that we budget for this for the 20 years, so that it's not gonna have to be a huge one full bond. We may have to bond out some, but we need to start, as you say, budgeting every year for each one of these major projects we know we're going to be doing. There are several other major projects we are looking into. Of course, first we're looking into if we can get any money for them without burdening the taxpayers, because infrastructure is what's really need to be addressed in the next several years. We have to start we have to start putting it off and actually dealing with it. And I want to thank Mr. McCormick has made a decision to come back and help us deal with the infrastructure issues of the community. So we are looking for we're looking for the bond resolution, whereas the Village of Highland Falls has delinquent water accounts. Is that? That's no, it's from my hand, sorry. This notice is issued pursuant to Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, State Environmental Quality Review of the Environmental Conservation Law. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls, as lead agency, has determined that the proposed action described below will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment. Title of the action is amendment to painting interior and exterior of the 2 village water tanks. The seeker status is type 2. Description of the action, painting of the exterior and interior of the 2 village water tanks, and installation of risers and other apparatuses. Location, Village of Highland Falls. Water treatment plant, 241 Mountain Avenue. Reason for supporting this determination, the intention of the improvement project is to paint the interior and exterior of the 2 water tanks of the village and increase the useful life of the tanks to benefit all users. No potential adverse environmental impacts have been identified. All work to be carried out in accordance with proper engineering and construction practices and detailed engineering plans prepared by professionals. Do I have a motion for the bond resolution?
That should be the adoption,
Should.
or else we the whole bond resolution.
What's that?
Or else we the whole bond resolution.
The bond resolution. Bond resolution. Pardon me, 1 second. Do you have any? I don't.
Mayor, while you're shuffling,
Yes?
I just had a couple of questions about
Thank you very much.
information on
Sorry.
the water tanks. Do we use them both simultaneously?
Kevin?
Yes.
Kevin is the head of our water department.
Yeah, I can.
I could answer it, but then
Both,
why?
yeah, okay. And the other question was, I seem to remember there was a lot of site work done there with roads and gravel. And I'm just wondering if in the future, there's any of that stuff we can do ourselves with our DPW to offset some of the costs. I don't know about that.
We actually, I'll talk of 2 things that we are doing ourselves with our DPWs that we can do. The key is that, 1, there are certain projects happening every day that they water, sewer, and DPW are involved in. And there's only so many employees where a certain amount of, certain tasks they can't do. And that's why we do hire out. But I will speak of 2 that I'm very happy that we are doing in-house, and we did save a lot of money for the taxpayers.
In reference to the water tank, the prior work we did have done was prior to the company coming in. It
Okay,
had to be excavated,
right. I thought I
the trees had to be removed, they had to strip the banks back so they can get a lift back around each tank. Once it's maintained now, we come in, we maintain it.
Okay.
Then we had the hurricane come in, we had it all cleaned up. Hurricane came in and washed out a whole road in the tank. FEMA paid for that, to have a contractor come back in, readdress everything. Now we can get around the tank and maintain it properly. Before, we don't have the equipment nor the people to operate that, and it was a big task. So now we maintain it.
And that was a lot of work just to get there, to be able to do the job.
Right, because they need access around the tank all the way around. So now we maintain it with proper drainage,
Okay.
proper fill and everything, and clearances.
Thanks, Kevin.
Well, there was other things too, the face of the dam, cutting off the face
Yeah.
of the dam, all those things.
One of the projects that is being worked on now that is being done in-house between both the village and town DPWs is the work done behind Town Hall. A wall that has to be reconstructed as well as the parking lot. And that's something we can do. We are gonna save a decent amount of money doing it in-house. And that's actually coming from FEMA money, which is great. That's just one of the projects. But we do. The board asks that all the time. Can't we do it ourselves? And
Yeah, well, the site work had gotten away from us, obviously,
Right.
right? It had gotten away. It should have never gotten to that point where you couldn't service their big item. Gotta be able to service them, you gotta get equipment in there. So, to look ahead, if
Exactly.
we have time.
And that's what we need to
Work a
do.
little bit at a time, you know?
And we actually met today, as far as looking ahead, capacity for water, since we're on that topic. We are looking at a 5, 10, and 20-year plan that Kev already has most of it in place. We're gonna present it because it is, we met with Supervisor Livesey to talk about more water for the fort in the coming years. And I'll talk about that during the reports. Please take notice that on May 20th, 2013, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls, New York adopted a bond resolution entitled, Bond Resolution of the Village of Highland Falls adopted September 20th, 2010 and amended May 20th, 2013, authorizing the painting of the interior and exterior of the 2 village water tanks and install risers and other appurtenances, stating that the estimated maximum cost thereof is $950,000. Appropriating said amount therefore and authorizing the issuance of a $950,000 serial bond to finance said appropriations. An abstract of such bond resolution concisely stating the purpose and effect thereof being as follows. First, authorizing said village to paint the interior and exterior of the 2 village water tanks and install risers and other appurtenances, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof, including preliminary cost and costs incidental thereto, and the financing thereof, is $950,000. Appropriating said amount therefore, and stating the plan of financing includes the issuance of $950,000 bond of the village to finance said appropriation and the levy of a tax upon all the taxable real property within the village to pay the principal of said bonds and interest thereon. Second, authorizing the issuance of $950,000 bonds to the village pursuant to the local finance law of the state of New York, and the law, to finance said appropriation. Third, determining and stating the period of probable usefulness applicable to the purpose for which said bonds are authorized to be issued is 15 years. Proceeds of said bonds and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation thereof may be applied to reimburse the village for expenditures made after the effective date of this bond resolution for the purpose for which said bonds are authorized. The proposed maturity of said bonds will exceed 5 years. Fourth, determining that said bonds and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds and the renewals of said bond anticipation notes shall be general obligations of the village, and pledging to their payments the faith and credit of the village. Fifth, delegating to the village treasurer the powers and duties as to the issuance of said bonds and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds and the renewals thereof, and other related powers. And sixth, determining that the bond resolution is subject to permissive referendum. Dated May 20th, 2013, Highland Falls, New York. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Not in a happy way.
No, it's a lot of money.
It is.
Do we anticipate spending,
No.
where are we coming in at totally with this project?
Of the 4, right now, we're projected at about 350, but we need to know that we have that additional just in case, so we don't have, it's something, it's a timely,
I know,
Yeah.
we don't have to go back.
yeah, I know, you know. We don't have to spend the entire 4. If we don't, obviously, we use that to pay down the bond immediately, if that's the case. I have a motion, do I have a second?
Reluctantly, I'll second.
And reluctantly, I am going to ask for a roll call.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Aye.
Trustee Miller?
All right,
Trustee Brown?
Reluctantly,
7 aye.
yeah.
Trustee Murphy? Mayor Flynn?
Aye. Again, they are painful, but these are things that have to be done to maintain the infrastructure of our community. Moving on to the resolution to re-levy unpaid May and November 2012 water bills, the June 2013 taxes, $34,725.28. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls has delinquent water accounts in the amount of $34,725.28 remaining unpaid, including late fees and charges from the May and November 2012 water billing. Now, therefore be it resolved that no further payments will be accepted after March 29, 2013, and any and all unpaid water accounts for the year 2012 be re-levied onto the 2013-14 village taxes. The adoption of the foregoing resolution was moved by
So moved.
Trustee DeSalvo. Second?
Second.
Trustee Brown, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Aye.
Trustee Mellon.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor Flynn.
Aye. Resolution to re-levy unpaid June and December 2012 sewer bills to June 2013 taxes, $112,974.06. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls has delinquent water sewer accounts in the amounts of $112,974.06, remaining unpaid, including late fees and charges from the June and December 2012 sewer bills. Now therefore be it resolved that no further payments will be accepted after April 30th, 2013, and any and all unpaid water accounts. Sewer, thank you. All good. Sewer accounts for the year 2012 be re-levied onto the 2013-2014 village taxes. Roll call.
Motion?
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee DeSalvo, Trustee Murphy, roll call.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Aye.
Trustee Mellon.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor Flynn.
Aye. We have several event requests.
A question? On these unpaid bills, especially the $112,000, is that money that will come to us
Yes.
somehow?
It will come to us because it's going to be levied on their taxes. And if they don't pay their taxes,
The county makes us whole.
Oh, okay.
Is that unusually, is that number going in a certain direction with
I
anybody?
think it was around the same last year.
And the year before that, I'm just,
Roughly.
it's writing on the wall, money's
I
scarce.
think some people
taxes
like
are
to
high.
just keep it on there and then they can write it off.
A lot of them are regulars.
Put it to your taxes.
If you have a creative accountant.
keep that low.
You're really not supposed to write off utility
I'm in.
payments, so
You understand that?
I
All
do,
right.
I do.
We have
just as long as you're not
a request for the
Tea Party.
West Point, West Point Plein Air Paint Out and Auction, June 15th, from Memorial Park, 9 to 5 a.m. This is from the
Highland Falls.
LDC, is she? Yes. Susan,
You want me to come up?
sure, come on up.
Okay. As you may or may not.
So just stand by the flag there.
Oh.
And face the camera.
And face the camera. As you may or may not know, last year we received a grant from the Orange County Department of Tourism to put on this event. And the idea of the event is to have painters. We've got a relationship with the Wallkill River School of Art, Shondell Joyce. She's very regionally, very well known. And two of the painters, even ones that are from Highland Falls, the Thorns. So, and then there's gonna be like 7 other painters involved, 10 altogether. Perhaps 11, we're not quite sure the count, depends on circumstance. But anyway, what they're gonna be doing is they're gonna be giving free workshops in Highland Falls. So if you're here and you're a resident of Highland Falls, you can walk up to one of the painters, you can watch them if you want to, or you can sit down, and as long as they have art supplies, which they will provide for free, that was part of the deal for getting the grant, you can sit down and have a free lesson. Or if you have your own supplies, you can sit down and paint alongside them. So basically, it's a paint out.
Where do you get to sit down at?
They'll have a chair, they'll have an easel.
I'm saying, because when you and I spoke on the phone, is it going to be throughout the town? You had said that they would be
Throughout the village, yes. There's gonna be 3 painters on West Point itself, one at Trophy Point, one at the reservoir, which is really pretty with all the thing, and then one closer to where their hotel is. But the rest of them are gonna be spread around the village, and the reason why we did that is because this event is about
art and art instruction, and the people will be coming here, hopefully will be patronizing the businesses in Highland Falls. So one of the tasks that I have left to do is to instruct the business owners how to best take advantage of this extra traffic that's going to be practically walking past their doors. So one of the things that I think that would be a good idea is for the businesses that can, and it's appropriate for them, is to do something simple like put a table out in front of the store, you know, kind of like a sidewalk sale, as long as it's not intrusive to the traffic. Several businesses have already expressed an interest in this. They think it'll bring them more business. And I think we're not going to provide any foods on the street, no food stuff on the street, but we're also going to give people a list of the restaurants that they can patronize. So they'll eat at the restaurants, drink at the restaurants, watch the painters, and hopefully they'll come to Memorial Park at the end of the day, where the paintings that the painters painted will be auctioned off. So I think it'll be a great day. We might have to, if the weather is bad that day, we will have to reschedule on a rain date. So two potential rain dates would be July 13th, and I think there's another weekend late in July that we'd probably be doing. So we're still negotiating that, and that'll be on the website. So what I did was I brought a few brochures. These are palm cards, and at the back of the, go ahead and give these out to everybody. On the back of the card is a list of the artists that will be participating. Here's one for your artists. So basically that's it. It's just a very simple event meant to attract people that don't normally come to Highland Falls, to come to Highland Falls and spend their money in Highland Falls.
And then you culminate with an auction of the artwork that has been done by the professionals during the day.
That's correct.
And then the money raised from that goes to the artist, or is it split?
Well, part of it will go. The part of it will go to the artists because when Sean holds these paint outs, the artists have to be paid, and their artwork is worth money. And then the other half will be going to the Highland Falls LDC to pay for administrative costs. And if we have anything else left over, we'll do other things for the village or the business district. But I'm not expecting it to be like a $20,000 haul or anything like that. It'll be very small. And James DeSalvo, he's our kind of liaison. And so if there's anything to report about that, he'll report it at your next meeting.
I did, before we continue, I did ask for paperwork, but you don't have, oh, you do, great.
We are listed, our paperwork is up to date with the Charities Bureau of the State of New York. You can go on their website, and the number is right there, and you can type it in, and it'll give you all that information, all the links will take you to where it needs to go.
This is a nonprofit?
That's correct. We're registered as a nonprofit with the State of New York.
Will anyone draw a salary from a nonprofit?
Yes, I
Stand.
don't draw salary. What I do is occasionally, they give me a little bit based on the type of work that's been done, but basically they haven't had any money to give me. And my agreement is I will work on this as long as I need to be able to get it to a firmer footing. They've hired me as the executive director. They paid me to do a few tasks, but they really haven't paid me.
Who do you work with? Are you all by yourself for this event together?
No, there is a board. There is an advisory board, but I do most of the work.
And there's a webpage that we can look at that's up to date,
That's correct,
on
yes,
your webpage.
yes,
Oh, 'cause I was looking at it, and
www.highland
It
Falls.
seemed like it was outdated, your webpage.
Okay, we can go through that with, for comments.
I just have one
at the
other
end.
question pertaining to that, and I know this is probably just reaching, but when you and I had spoke about the little visitor center, you had said that you had one time had gotten some money, I'm not sure what it
No,
was.
the village had the money.
The village, so that's what I wanted to ask, because it's not cleaned up yet, it's still not painted, we do have West Point.
Let's talk about that at the comments.
But I'm saying that's all a part of this same organization, so I don't know, you know what I'm saying, like, they've gotten money for this, and we had money for that, but we still haven't cleaned that up.
You're talking about the kiosk, right?
I am.
That is correct.
And
No,
you had
it's
said
with-
that
no,
the village
DPW
received the money.
Loma,
It's been
just, hold on, I'll tell you exactly what's going on with it.
Okay.
The village painted the kiosk.
Oh, since you and I spoke?
The DPW painted the kiosk. It's painted bright blue and bright yellow, is that not correct?
Yes.
Right.
Just recently?
They painted it like couple months ago, yeah. They were just waiting for some paint for a good day for them to be able to put another coat of paint on it because it was just too wet to paint. We've got the map ready and we've got the plexiglass ready to install, which was being ordered. And we hope to have it installed soon. And it's kind of a cooperation between the village and the LDC to get it finally up there. So, and it's a beautiful map, by the way, and I think it'll be a tremendous asset to this village because it's right across the street from the visitor center. And visitors come all the time. They come over that to the kiosk and they see nothing. So they'll finally see all the businesses in Highland Falls that are in the Main Street area. And I think that'll be a tremendous benefit to the businesses here.
And Susan, you weren't here, but we approved to do the walkway too, in that area near the kiosk. So it'll be even better for.
Oh, I think that'd be really an asset. When we get to, we are going to get to the point where we're gonna be applying for other grants, and then we'll keep, James in the loop. He can attend all of our meetings, and he'll report back to the board what we're going to do. So if there's any coordination with the village that we need to do, that we'll be happy to do that. It's like, for instance, the Main Street New York grants, they usually have set aside that can be used on public assets in the village. So that would be something that you guys would look forward to doing something with.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So can I meet the rest of these? with
You leave them in the back and they can grab them on the way out,
Actually, all right, that's all I'll do.
okay?
Okay.
This is an excellent event. I have a few concerns, but I will move. Do I have a motion to approve the event? Motion by Trustee DeSalvo, second by Trustee Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'm opposed.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Aye.
Trustee Mallett?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Flynn?
Nay. Moving on to Rolling Thunder, down Main Street to Memorial Park. It's an annual event. It will occur on June 9th,
Fine.
approximately noon. You have the paperwork. They have the proper insurance. Are there any questions?
Make a motion to approve the suit to better.
Do I have a second? Second by Trustee Brown. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
How long have you been doing that?
5 years, I don't know, 4 at least.
About 5.
We have items for discussion. This is a letter in reference to water account, 6 Perry Avenue. Has everyone had a chance to look at the letter? Thoughts on the letter itself that were around? Does anyone have any comments before I? Some of the thoughts were that the water bill be paid, but the sewer, because the water never actually went into the sewer, will not be paid at that rate. It will go back to a rate that they had in the previous year.
Yeah, okay. I think that's fair. Basically, the water's the water, whether it leaked or they use it, it's
Yeah.
She can't hear you, so. No, okay, but yeah, you have to pay for the water, and it's no getting around that. It's a maintenance thing, and it froze and it leaked, and the water was used, and even though it didn't go into the sewer, I think that I would be receptive to the idea of not paying the sewer bill, but paying the water bill on this one,
So,
and paying an estimated on the sewer.
From last
On
year.
a previous, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from discussion, I guess, the sewer bill was about 150 to 170. There's only one person living in the house at that time. There's no one living in the house now. So question I had was regarding payment, can that be paid by other means other than check or money order? Can that be through a credit card or something like that?
Online, you can do it online with a credit card, right?
Can you do the credit card? Okay.
Yes.
Online, you can do that.
Okay.
Is that okay, John?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think, you know, as the letter states, her pension is meager, and obviously it was a unique situation. We did inform Kevin, and he assisted us, and we appreciated that. All utilities are turned off henceforth, and we're trying to sell the house, and we are selling the house.
Good.
But it's been a process, so obviously the utilities were on throughout this winter, and
Yeah.
this leak was so tough to, it was underneath the house. So, I mean, if there's a leak, usually, John lets us know pretty quickly. So, but, I think that's a fair resolution, and we appreciate you guys looking at it.
See, that's a tough one on us, because it's,
I mean,
it sets
you know,
a precedent. If we say, well, okay, don't worry about it, then.
No, I
it's a long
understand.
time and-
I understand, I mean, I saw the water bill, and I know what the sewer would have been.
Right.
So that would have been a backbreaker for her, so, sounds reasonable.
Is the board, does that be a motion or it does? All right.
I'll make that motion.
I'm delighted that we found a good resolution to it. It is an unfortunate occurrence, so I'd be happy to second it.
Yeah, I mean, we checked the house weekly, it just was a small leak underneath the house, and literally underneath the house, so, that's fine. If you go, so online, it's through the village website?
Yes, if you picked up an agenda, on the bottom
I'll
of it,
pick it up,
it has
yeah.
our website address. And on the bottom of on the website front page, it tells you how to go online. And online will guide you right through it.
All right, thank you.
I have a motion by trustee Mellon, seconded by trustee Murphy, that the water bill be paid in full and the sewer bill be paid as per last year's bill. Click. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You just have to abstain.
Okay. One abstention. All right. We also have a letter in reference to the car wash and sewer services on 9W. Is everybody up to speed on what's going on at the car wash? Any questions?
No, I believe that it's gonna be looked into tomorrow. John?
Yes, myself and Jack are going down tomorrow morning.
What are we gonna do with the drain, actually? Is there any talk about repiping back in the drain, so we have the ability to work with that if it becomes another issue with being unpaid?
Well, that's a whole other issue, because the only way we're gonna be able to do that is to physically go down there, and we're gonna have to get permission from Mike, from Aristotle, because I'm sure that guy's not gonna show us where he buried the sewer line. We're gonna have to actually physically find his line, dig it up, and so we know where it is.
Is that an issue itself that's pending with the digging? it
Yeah,
out?
there's a legal issue with
Okay,
that,
all right.
yes.
So we'll be happy just to get the meter in there and begin, if in fact that happens.
Because he shouldn't, I mean, everything down there is a legal issue with it, so, I mean, he shouldn't have done what he did. We didn't inspect it when they tapped into that line, so there was a lot of things that went on down there that aren't right. But I'll let everybody know what goes on tomorrow after me and Jack, go down there and see what he did with the meter in the basement.
Tell people. No. That's okay.
All
All
right,
right.
is it gonna be a problem that we're gonna have to continue, should we be checking this now
Well,
once or twice a
The
year?
water meter will tell us.
the water meter, but if,
Yeah, but the water meter did it tell us this time, or did we just?
He took it out.
Water meter was
Right,
there was no water meter.
That's what I mean, though, but,
Yeah.
it didn't tell us that it wasn't there, though,
So
so that's what I'm worried about.
this will be a remote read, right? Can we
The other
can
one,
access that
the other
through
one was a
computer?
remote
Yeah, but the
read,
other one was a remote read too.
Yeah.
but what happened was we went to go read it, we didn't pick it up, we went back down there, and the building was renovated, so we had nothing, we didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And I guess the building, I don't know if it comes under the building department if they knew what was going on also, so it's in a secluded area, so you don't pass.
No, I
every
know
day.
that, it just, worries me that this could potentially happen again, maybe.
And we don't have the ability to do anything about it.
Well, now that we will put the meter in, we'll know where the meter is. If the meter's missing again, we'll know that. If the read doesn't come in, we know where the meter is.
Right.
So that won't be an issue with that. We have to be more vigilant on top of it if we don't get the read.
Kevin, is there a way he could bypass
Good violation or fine?
the meter?
Oh, yeah.
You would have to shut it down, then we would know. I don't wanna say live on the, we have ways of picking up, I'd rather not say it this time, I'll say it. I'll address the board downstairs on that issue.
Secret stuff, secret squirrel
The
stuff.
problem that we had was when he didn't pay, we were able to plug his sewer line.
Right.
Now that he's moved that, we don't have that
Yeah.
ability. So if he doesn't pay, we have no way of shutting the
Right.
sewer down.
That's
That's
what I was
where we
gonna
would
tell.
have to get permission to go in there and actually dig and find his sewer line and whatever we're gonna do at that point. If it got to that point, I wouldn't let him hook up again if we have to go down there and dig it.
Don't get to that point.
Well, hopefully not, but I don't
The
know.
whole thing seems kind of,
How do people get a C of O when you're not?
Well, it's an unusual circumstance. He's got a water meter so he can monitor the sewage. He doesn't have city water, he's got just the sewage, so we get the bill from the water to give him a sewer bill. The sewer pipe was in a manhole where they could plug in case of non-payment, that changed. And the fact that the meters was removed, so we didn't have any information regarding the sewer bill.
So he's not getting village water? He's
No,
getting
he's
well
not.
water?
It just gives an idea of the bill.
And he's just using the sewer?
Right.
our bills are based off your water
Of course,
usage.
right, I understand, yeah, okay.
It's a whole legal issue down there between that, him, and Mr. Arifstoff's property, which that is.
There's a lot more going on. Our main concern is to get him back on the bills,
Right.
and then we'll go from there.
So he took it upon himself to remove that meter?
They gutted the whole building.
They were
It's a whole big
Sure
story.
is.
It's
Sure
there's
is.
a lot more factors involved down there that weren't picked up when they should have been. And we picked our end up, we addressed it with our village attorney, the village clerk and the mayor, and now it's going forward. So we're trying to preserve our end
Right.
to get our services paid for.
We'll have an update, when there's more complete. But right now, that's excellent, thank you. Going on to 13 with the update for the hazard mitigation plan. Our hazard mitigation plan is up, and we need to renew. We had an excellent meeting this morning, not about the hazard mitigation, but we dealt with it between our engineer, Supervisor Livesey, and myself, along with Kevin and Mr. Schizzarini. We're wondering why we both have hazard mitigation plans. Why do we just don't have a town hazard mitigation plan? Why the village has to have its own? Our engineer felt that we definitely can have one plan for the entire town, and we're looking into that now to save taxpayer money. Bob Livesey was more than, he wanted more to help. Supervisor Livesey wanted to work with us as best he can, so we are looking into a joint mitigation plan. There is actual money out there to combine mitigation plans. So this is another step that we're making in combining services, and it was met on both sides very well. So we are moving forward on that. We will give you an update on that as, yes.
Mr. Mayor, quick question. Is that equal to emergency action plan? Is it the same thing?
Gina?
Is hazard mitigation, emergency action the same thing?
No, the hazard
No.
mitigation plan is more on the FEMA side, the state side, for when there's major disasters, when the funding has to come from FEMA or SEMA. Your other emergency action plans deal with specific items like your water plant, what's your action, if something should happen there.
Okay, they're two distinct.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank
Yeah,
you.
there's a lot of different kind of plans, dealing with different types of disasters. The hazard mitigation is one that we all need to have for the FEMA and SEMA, to make sure you get funds when these major storms that are coming through and causing the damage, and whether they get funding from FEMA. If you don't have that plan, they don't really even help you much.
And that's the key, that with, this past year, we had a nice piece of change from FEMA to help with the sewer plant. It was in large part because we had an updated hazard mitigation plan, along with other things in place. So we do need to make sure that stays in place, and we are working on making one plan with the town, rather than paying for two.
Okay, just the town emergency action plan, I know that a couple of years ago, we did provide the village with a copy of the town's plan, so that probably could be combined easily. I just wanted to make sure there was a distinction, I didn't remember. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, on the agenda, again, EMS week. If we could have our EMS people stand by the flag one time, and if we put our hands together, I would appreciate it. Come on. A small group of the larger group over at the ambulance corps. No, that's right, I'm not agreeing. Again, you can't thank them enough for what they do. Really appreciate all you do, and proclamation will hopefully be in the paper tomorrow. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget, hug an EMS person if you can this week. Get it done. We received a letter from the Office of the Aging. They are looking for volunteers for the senior dining program. So if anyone out there would like to volunteer for the senior dining program, it doesn't take much time at all. You can contact the Village Hall, and we will put you in touch with the proper people. This time it is set a special meeting to pay end of fiscal year claims. A suggestion was May 30th at 9 a.m. The question is, can the board members make that? Okay, Mr. Brown? Yes? May 30th? Thursday? Jim?
Fine.
Okay, so we will set it for May 30th, 9 a.m. 2013. I will make a motion. I need a motion to set up a special meeting to pay the end of the year fiscal claims for Thursday, May 30th, 2013 at 9 a.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee DeSalvo, seconded by Trustee Mellon. All those in favor? All opposed? So moved. Can I get a motion to pay the bills and claims? Or do we have any questions about the bills and claims first before we start? Nope. We're good?
We're good. Is there any possibility of getting this a little bit earlier in the day, because it is hard to go through those vouchers?
Well, you could come through and look at the vouchers anytime, the boxes as they're doing them, but to actually get that report out, it's last minute, because we're still getting stuff from department heads sometimes, right to the last minute. I know, and then it takes a little bit to get the report out. I mean, we have it done by probably 2 o'clock, and it's the earliest we can get that report done. But at any time during the month, the bills are already been processed or there, you can't put in the time.
Okay.
So,
I'll pick it up at 2.
All right, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor of approving the bills and claims? All those opposed? So move. It was Trustee DeSalvo motioned, Trustee Mellon second.
Yes, I.
Yes, you did. Okay, and now we have public comment. Anyone up for public comment? Mr. Strobel.
Good evening. Couple things. First of all, you all know that somehow I inherited community service, okay? Tomorrow, hopefully, if it wasn't for me, we're gonna finish the garbage cans, they're all being painted and sanded down. I got with Pat Patterson, we got some equipment we're gonna try to remove, hopefully this weekend, if it don't rain. The graffiti over at Roe Park on all the stuff over there. But I just wanna talk a second about Pat Patterson. Yesterday I went to him because I had community service, we were raking leaves and stuff along Main Street and picking up papers. And I saw him at Dunkin' Donuts and said to him, I said, "Pat, do me a favor, I mean, it is West Point graduation week. You got all these bags of leaves out there, okay? They were gone by 10 o'clock this morning. This guy is phenomenal. You ask him to do something that's automatic. The other thing I wanted to ask, just to inform the board is, and everybody else, about the ambulance corps. Last night we had a very severe ambulance call here in the village. The man was in full respiratory arrest when we got there. Now, our village police beat us there because they're, it's late at night, they're on patrol and they get the call. The two officers went well above what they should have done as police officers. The only reason why I don't have certificates and stuff, my computer would die, all right, in the printer. As soon as I can get it running again, I'm gonna have letters to the village board on what exactly their actions was. The two part-time police officers meet us there. They were doing care prior to our arrival. When the ambulance got there, it was a two-person crew. It was the driver, in fact, Gina, and one of the paid EMTs, Mike Murphy. They immediately saw what happened and called for assistance right away. It got me running out the door, okay? I was there, and two of my other people, Marty and Chris Burns, responded. By the time we got the guy to the hospital, all right, with the help of also, I forgot one other person, using 911, we couldn't get through on the radios because the radio traffic, it was fires and everything else, so the traffic was heavy. We had to use the dispatcher downstairs. She went well above what it should be doing, okay? With their help and the police officers' help, and of course the ambulance crew, when we got the guy to the hospital, all right, he still wasn't breathing, but we had to intubate him. I mean, that in itself. He now had a pulse, all right? He had a blood pressure better than mine, okay? And as of this afternoon, one of the thousands of calls we had today, he's actually opening his eyes and recognizing people there, all right? Without the help of the police and the dispatcher, this might not have happened. So I want to keep that in mind to those guys. I will send you letters on this, but I can get my computer going. All right, which hopefully the parts come tomorrow. Okay, but I just want to let you know, we work with these police departments downstairs, and they did some job. Carrying, they had no problem in snatching and carrying this guy out the door. And if you saw the incident, it looked like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, and they had no problem about getting wet. All right, good job on their part. Thank you.
Bill was facing the wrong way, so I don't know if the people at home caught some of the things. When he's not spending the entire day down at the ambulance hall, he has taken over the community service program and spends many hours, people don't know, out on the streets on the main thoroughfares, top of Mountain Avenue, out by Nicole's, with the community service people. For the most part, picking up trash, whether it's there, whether it's along Main Street. And again, this is a volunteer on his part. Not volunteer on the community service part, they're doing community service. But Bill has taken it upon himself to manage the entire program, which is no small task. Two things that he mentioned, which I don't think, again, were picked up and I think need to be said. Bill and Pat Patterson are working very well together to take care of smaller tasks so that our DPW can do larger tasks. One of those tasks is they repainted the garbage cans on Main Street. They were looking horrible and went ahead with community service. I saw some the other day that looked fantastic. He's going to continue that. And again, in coordination with Pat Patterson, and then also working on the graffiti at Roe Park. That is also a huge thing, particularly for families. For those people that see graffiti or see problems, particularly at Roe Park, any of the parks, anywhere in the village, see something, say something. Mr. McCormick, give that to him. If there is graffiti, don't just walk away and be upset. Call down, and that will lead into my next thing before we finish with village comment. Call down to the proper agency, not just the village hall all the time. Graffiti will be handled by DPW, and then they will get with Bill to take care of it. Okay, if you have a water issue, you want to call the water department. If you have a sewer issue, you want to call the sewer department. A garbage issue, you do not call the village hall. That's 3800 town garage. Also, with issues with the police, you do not call the village hall. You call the police department. So we would ask that everyone, you will get quicker response by contacting the proper people directly. If there is a problem, by all means, contact my office. But please, not the first time and not the second time, because sometimes all the department heads and their crews are busy. But please try to utilize the departments that the issue is for.
And is there a handbook that actually outlines what everybody's job is? You know, is there like
There's an employee handbook.
On the
Yeah.
village website,
Yeah,
it lists all the departments.
if you have
with the
10
phone
village
numbers.
employees, or.
On the village website, that's an
Right.
excellent point. On the village
That's
website,
what
it
I'm
does list all the,
All the
does list all the
departments.
I would
departments.
know that, to call the, you know,
And-
different.
That actually
departments.
leads me into the next thing. First of all, do we have any other comments? Yes.
Mr. Mayor and Board, Ed McCready. I was at the,
Face the camera.
Okay. I was at the, sorry about that. I was at the school board meeting last week. The local newspaper covered this very well. The revelation that we have a $40 million decrease in our assessments, I would recommend, this is a big deal, and might I ask the board, because the school doesn't have live coverage, that maybe the town assessor might be willing to come over and maybe explain to the village residents on the board the impact here, because the biggest issue here is the tax rate, the issue of the change in the tax rate. Assessments in general are very confusing, and a lot of residents get a little confused as to whether their taxes are going up, down, and so on. There's a lot of moving pieces here. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that I found when I was there, I did learn quite a bit from John Woolham, who was there from the county, as well as the assessors that were there, that maybe it might be a good idea for them to actually tell all the boards the impact. Because $40 million, it's about 8% of the total value of our properties. And I think there'll be a lot of confused residents on tax time if maybe some of this stuff isn't put out there. So I just wanted to share I felt I learned quite a bit listening to what they had to say, and maybe others would too. Okay, thank you.
Excellent, thanks. Mr. Grant?
Okay. Since you were talking about volunteer, we were setting some flowers for Mrs. Lent down by the fire lane. Where is that?
Patriots Park,
Patriots.
Patriots Garden.
No.
Oh.
It was down.
The triangle?
Yeah. No. Down.
Garrison Pond,
Huh?
Mrs. Lent.
Yeah,
Garrison Pond.
down that way. Remember
Yes.
last year?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, what's the name of that place? You're
That'd
the
be Garrison
mayor.
Pond.
Oh.
What is it?
Garrison Pond.
Garrison
Yeah,
Pond.
okay, that definitely needs to be cleaned up. We planted the flowers there and it looks nice, but with the garbage around it, right?
I agree.
And at the end of the
Luckily, we
day,
don't have to pay for it because that is town property.
we got logs and whatnot there, okay?
Well, actually, now that you're here, if you could talk to our captain, Bill Strobel,
Right,
and see if there's any chance of getting some community service people down there.
right, that'd be great. But it needs to be weed whacked and everything,
And he's got that.
huh?
He's got it.
Yeah, all right, so we would appreciate it. You know where it is, Bill?
I'll get with you, you're gonna show me.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
And these, I have to say, people don't understand the importance and the impact of the program that Bill's overseeing. Because something like that, someone might say, it's no big deal, is it? No, it is a big deal, because there is no one there to do it. You know, that's not really technically town DPW responsibility. It's not, it's a very gray area. And to be able to have this kind of service is huge. And I want to thank the courts for implementing the service and for continuing to give Bill the people he needs to provide the service. We have one or two main donors that have financed the entire program, over $10,000 worth, to make sure that, we have a mower, we have a weed whacker, we have all the necessary tools to do the jobs. And more importantly, we have people out there pointing out the needs. Okay, so that's important too. If you see something, you need to get a hold of us, because don't just be upset that there's all this garbage over here and no one's dealing with it. No one else might be seeing it. You have to step up like Mr. Grant does on a regular and complain, because he's good at it.
But no, really, and I'd like to thank Ann, my friend. She was there this morning. We were really pulling weeds and trying to do something. We're getting up there in age.
You look good, my friend, you look good.
All right?
But that is exactly what the community service is for, and particularly for people like the garden club, which are also, majority of them are getting up there as well. They're gonna need help. And coming back to the groups, it's time for the 50-year-olds, the 40-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, and the 20-year-olds to start stepping up and joining existing organizations like Vision, like the Garden Club, like Rotary, and other organizations that are cropping up to help out the community. Any other comment from the, yes?
Just a question. Going back to where the installation of the crosswalk,
Yes.
okay, can you just explain to me, the people are gonna come from the visitor center and cross that road, right? Well, what's gonna be there to have them slow down? Or, because I see what happens a half a block down by a Lime Green, they can't even get across in the wheelchair. So yeah. So is there anything that could be implemented that they actually stop or let the people go, and then instead of running them over? I mean, how is that gonna be? Just lines?
It's the lines, and they're having, concrete, the curbs are gonna be cut, and they got like a little swale.
Right.
It'll be a regular crosswalk, other than
No
maybe
lights.
putting some signage up that says, you have to stop for pedestrians, which
Yeah.
we normally do during the.
Yeah,
warmer
because I
days.
see in front of, Ned Copol's, there's like a crosswalk there. No one stops, they just zoom right by.
It's actually by the bank, yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you know
No, I
what, it's the signage here in this little town is terrible. People don't pay attention and read. But I know because of Lime Green, because I'm down there a lot, they just keep on going. They don't care that someone's trying to get across, 90-year-old,
And there is a caution light down there.
Yeah, but
And
it
a lot of
doesn't, they don't
signage.
care. And for a while, there was that sign in the road, and it gets knocked down, and they don't care about that either. Right? I mean,
It's true.
We could use better signage in here, and
We
that's
need
that's
it,
a
yeah.
state situation, isn't
Yeah.
it, with that road? We need share the road, because there's no area really for cyclists coming northbound. There's no median for them on the right side of the road coming north. Going south, there's a little bit. So that kind of thing, share the road, because we have a tremendous amount of cyclists coming through here. And talk about, they go to
Right.
the stores and they eat lunch
Yeah.
and they do that kind of thing, so we want to welcome those folks. And then like you said, the crosswalks.
the
Yield
crosswalk is very
to
bad. It's
pedestrians
not,
in the
there's no
crosswalk.
one there
That's a sign
making
I've
sure
seen.
things are being done.
Yeah, we have the same thing by on Dior, that's another spot.
Yeah.
The state, there's a lot of issues on infrastructure there, and I noticed, Napa just put a little bit of a swell of asphalt. It's terrible. The asphalt there is, there's no sidewalk, all that stuff needs to be looked
Those
at.
came in or sinking.
Right, that project is actually being addressed. They do realize the extent of it, it's bigger than it looks. So we're trying to deal with it for now, and then we're gonna look into dealing with
And
the
I think
entire
the village
problem.
did the patching, right?
Yes.
Speaking of signage, I'd also would like to comment on that, not so much on Main Street, but off of Mountain Avenue onto Kleitz or West Street, Is there any way that we can stop commercial vehicles? I mean, we have West Point bus stores that can't make the turn from Cousins Avenue down to the stop sign where it narrows. Let's see, the beer trucks, the Poland Spring guy, of course, every bus in Highland Falls, it's out of control. Because first of all, the road cannot handle it because it's not wide enough. Once you come down Cousins Avenue, there's a big catch basin where South Street, Cousins, Prospect, Cousins. No way could an ambulance get up because the cars are lined up from the catch basin all the way down. There's no sign that says no park to the corner, no parking on this side. You cannot pass going up Cousins Avenue, and then you have that rock island in the middle that does nothing but hold garbage. And so maybe the Vision might want to put some flowers up there or a bench for the elderly that when they walk up Cousins, they have a place to sit down because that's quite a hill. I see them huffing and puffing. And I mean, for one, I would plant flowers if it was appropriate, I was allowed to. But that whole island is an absolute hazard because you have a one-way street, where you come down Prospect to continue down Cousins, or you come out to the corner that then goes up to Cousins or down South Street, and cars, 6 cars, all on the same side. Something gotta give. So when I come up Cousins Avenue, everyone, not just myself, there's no stop sign on this side where Mrs. Brown used to live, but we have to stop by Liberty and allow buses, trucks, cars, everybody has to come down, and then we can proceed up. An ambulance could never, in emergency, make that bend.
I believe that would be Kenny, Chief Scott, to address signage.
Because it's a total hazard. And also the stop sign, I think it should just be a yield sign, because if you stop there, okay, now what? The guy coming up the hill, he can't get past you. So at least you can see, and you could yield it because you only have a one-way coming down.
That's an excellent point, and what we need to do is, again, there's probably 20 other people that had signage issues and other issues. We need to put it in writing, and we need to get it to, for signage, get it to Chief Scott. If you can check the website, you can email it directly to him and my email as well, so that I can get a copy. But the email address again is on the bottom of the agenda. For those at home, it's www.highlandfallsny.org. And but the bottom line is, we can make some notes here, but really what's got to happen is you have 1 point, you have 2 points, you have 3 points. They need to be put in writing so we can follow up on them properly.
What do they have in that? And why do we have that there? That little triangle, why don't we just take it out of there?
There's
I think it's holding up portion of the road.
Yeah.
Is it a different level?
Road, yeah, the road is much higher.
I couldn't put it.
There's also a drain that goes under there,
Is
it's
there?
actually like a stream.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
You couldn't, I don't think you could put
But
a
if
bench
you
there,
eliminate the
'cause-
cars
No.
that park from the corner house, the apartment building, the corner house, the next house, and then the road narrows,
Right.
and then they're all lined up. So you have to stop at the top of Cousins around like 51 or 55. You have to stop and view
That's
the
my
down,
fear,
and then you let the people come up, you give them a courtesy. Or if now if you're both heading the same direction, somebody's gotta back up, because you have a catch basin that juts out into the road. And then you have the lower street that now says, I don't know, I think it's a complete stop sign now. So that jams up in here a little bit too.
The key is that the only way we're gonna fix it,
But here's my point, Pat, is that commercial vehicles, how much, the blacktop has only been freshly put down. At one time, I remember it was supposed to be 6 inches on Cousins Avenue. And when I spoke to the fellow when he was laying, he said, oh no, he said, we were approved for 6, he said, but then they said, no, only 2 inches was actually put on Cousins back in the day. I understood that the village paid for 6, but a fellow that did the work, I happen to know him, he said, no, he says, I don't know what happened to the other 4 inches, he says, but Cousins Avenue only received 2 inches. So these heavy-duty trucks, commercial vehicles, van lines, now that they'll all be leaving at West Point, they come down the state road, and then they hang a left because of their GPS. They don't come all the way down and then cross over and then go into West Point that way. They'll come through our neighborhood, and then they have to back up.
right.
And then if it's a hot day, there goes the asphalt.
Again, let's put it in writing. I'm sure that Mr. McCormick with the infrastructure, that's another thing where, yeah, he hates me already. I love it. That is a huge infrastructure program, and not just the, it is, not just the trucks, but the buses that are now going down all the side streets. There are a lot of issues that need to be addressed. Again, get a copy to me of all your concerns, but definitely with signage, get a copy to Chief Scott. With the, as far as the road conditions, that would be Pat Patterson. So the best thing to do is type it up and email it through the different emails on the website.
And over at Wine Green, there's one blind person that walks too.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when we see him, we pick him up and drive him home. I get too worried about him crossing that road. Yeah,
The
yeah.
pedestrian crossing really is a problem, and I do know that a
Yeah,
neighboring
I know.
village
Yeah.
actually set up a sting operation and and caught a lot of people.
Yeah.
I find, since I cross that Wine
Yeah.
Green crosswalk frequently,
You run.
you do, because people do not stop, and I do see that the majority of the people who try to mow you down are out of state. So it might behoove us to really let them know that in New York State, similar to Massachusetts, the pedestrian does in fact have the right of way. And if we had a couple of our officers occasionally ticketing at crosswalks, maybe they would start respecting the pedestrian.
One thing, as long as you have officers posted, they're gonna slow down. Once the
Yeah.
officers are gone, they start heading back. All your side streets have the same problem. Because the street I live on, Center Street, and like that's a racetrack. The kids are always out there playing. And Snyder and Center, one day, one of those kids gonna get hit. As long as the cops are there, they stop. Once the cops are gone, they don't pay you any mind.
Well, some towns put speed bumps in, which people hate. So,
Well, that's been a problem
They
also.
are.
Once we put speed bumps down and they moved. They never
Oh,
stay in
really?
one place.
Speed bumps also are an insurance issue.
I'll tell you another dangerous area right there by the clay mines there. You going around where the long garages at there, Muller and Center Street there. Cars are parked there, and if emergency operators have to get through there, they cannot make that turn, fire trucks or nothing. And right there where you live at, that's another problem.
The bottom line is that none of the roads are designed to hold the amount of cars that we now have. You know, 30 years ago, there were 2 cars, there was 1 car per family, now there's 4, 5, 6 cars per family. So it's very hard for parking, it's very hard for traveling, it's very hard for a lot of different issues. And on Cousins alone, you have a bus, there's a bus depot there. So forget all the other traffic you have, you know, it's just and that road takes a particular beating. So that's why, another reason why it looks disrepair, because you have major buses going over that every day.
You need to raise your consultant fees.
Public comment? I'm glad Mr. Strokel had something nice to say about the hardworking police department. I unfortunately witnessed a disturbing episode maybe a month ago by Rite Aid, where 4 of our high school students were involved in a traffic stop, and I observed, and one of the new officers we have, and they were taking the kids' shoes off, and I mean, they were just right there, they had the lights blaring, and the kids were nervous. I think they were going to a lacrosse game. I don't know, it just seemed a little too much. And I'm an advocate for the kids, and that's not how to reach them. They had the 4 of them, one at a time, they were sitting on the curb. It was really disturbing to me, and I just, you know, I want to know if we're doing the right thing here, because there are lawsuits possible that could be filed against us if you know, we encroach on young people or search people when we don't have a probable cause and all that kind of thing. So I just want to know that we're by the book, we have a policy, and the policy deals with everybody equally. And a little courtesy goes a long way. You know, I myself was stopped for a light being out, and
I had my kids, I was bringing them to West Point to catch a bus to go on a weekend trip, and I explained that to the officer, and he went to his car, sat down for a while, ran my license. I was stopped in Fort Montgomery for the same thing, and the gentleman was very kind, said, "Sir, I just wanted to tell you you have the light out. I show you my license, I'm right here in Highland Falls. You know, I don't need to be paying $1 million police force to, to be, encroaching on our civil liberties." So that's my comment, and I respect the police department. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I just think, these things need to be, there needs to be policy enforced, and it needs to be very clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I just have an issue about the weekly paper blotter. Fort Montgomery tells you exactly.
Wilma?
I've been at this all day. Okay, when you read the local paper, Fort Montgomery explains the arrest, who was arrested, what they did. Obviously, they're not law-abiding citizens. But in Highland Falls, we look at the paper and it says 25 arrests, and it gives a whole meaning to the arrest, but there is no accountability. I don't know who this person is, and I don't feel safe not knowing who's not being a law-abiding citizen. As you know, I sell the poison, I own Side Street Saloon, and a lot of times our locals come in and I want to think that they're all doing the right thing, and then I find out that he was involved in maybe a fight on the street, or he attacked somebody, or she was in a physical, or there was a domestic abuse situation in a home. I'm not going to promote people, and encourage them to, come by and hang out if they're not doing the right thing in this village. Because we're not that small, we're not that big, we're very small. And I probably know more that goes on in the village, in the bar business, than maybe our local police do. So I feel that we should have a courtesy, all businesses, not just my own. All businesses should be aware, and the community, together, we should know who does not want to follow the law, and who is breaking the law, and who is robbing and stealing and thieving and drugging and arresting, convicted. Can I know as a citizen, can I find out who created, an issue for a neighbor and robbed him or violated, or there was a drug overdose? How many people know that we have a very, very serious drug situation in this village? And I'm glad I'm not raising no kids, because it's out there, we can pretend it's not, it's here. And it's a shame. And I'm here 35 years, it's the same scene. It has not ended. So when you think, oh, there's no drugs here, wake up. But wouldn't you like to know who's doing what? Where's the dirty? You can say 27 arrests. Oh, 55 people were arrested. Okay, what were they arrested for? Robbery, assault, breaking and entering, a violation of giving a young child drugs. Who are you? And I feel the police are not protecting me as a citizen. And I think I can speak for a lot of people. But if you go to Fort Montgomery and you speak with those officers or the people that are putting it in, like Jack, the chief there, Mr. Quinn, he tells it like it is. He says it was a drunk driving charge, it was a domestic, it was a child molestation or whatever, a robbery. We know who that person is. So if he might pass through my bar, I'm going to look at him twice now because I have a reason to. Other than that, I'm just guessing that everybody's doing the right thing. Where that's where my concern is, and maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. I don't need to know the business, but if you're violating, if you're not a law-abiding citizen living here, and maybe you don't pay taxes, maybe you don't pay your rent, or maybe you don't care about your property, well, then maybe we can put them to shame and they'll move on. And then maybe we can focus on the real issues, and that is the safety of myself, my business, and the kids in the community, and also everyone else that's here. We don't know who's who. Who are you? So that bothers me. That bothers me. You don't have to tell me the whole thing. But you know what? If you just robbed my neighbor, and I don't know it's you, and I see you, and I'm going to be all nice and sweet to you, and you just violated somebody, it's not right. It's wrong. Wrong is wrong. So, but until the local paper tells us who are these villains, who are these people that just do not want to do the right thing. And it seems like it's just a constant, gerbils keeps going around and around and around.
You mean you never see any violations that's written up in the Highland Falls News that have taken place in Highland Falls?
Exactly,
You
nothing.
never see?
Does anybody know about the drug adult? The young boy, little John, who worked at McDonald's, who had bad heroin? Shame, shame, shame. That's hurtful. He was the nicest boy.
I think it's an ongoing investigation, and you might not.
But you know what, you might wanna
Yeah,
say
but
that
you
there's
might not
some
wanna let
drugs
the
in the
cards out
village
of
that
it.
we should be aware of our young people, maybe a drug program, maybe our police officers can maybe put something out there, a flyer, a bulletin, let us be aware. Let the other kids know, there is danger.
The kids already know, Loma.
Do the parents know?
I would
Why
hope
should
so,
they do?
unless they're
Do
walking
they
around
know?
with mud on their eyes.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, so in 35 years, I guess it's.
I mean, you think the whole
normal.
community is that
Nobody's
naive
saying
that
it's
they don't know
normal.
there's drugs in Highland Falls?
Well, there's no
If there is some
information.
naivety here.
Not that many naive people, I don't think.
Okay, well, you don't hear about it, you don't know.
There's a lot of stuff you don't hear about in Montgomery either.
Okay.
But there's a difference. Fort Montgomery Police Department, they put it in the paper.
But so does Highland Falls.
Do we?
Yeah, you do.
No, we don't.
You might not read all of it, but
I don't
it's
read
there.
it. I'm coming to tell you. It says 12 arrests, 15 arrests, 5 arrests, 4 burglaries, 1 assault, 1. Who are these people?
I'm willing to listen to you, but never say that there are no violations put in the Highland Falls News. Because I've seen them in
Mr.
there.
Brown, you're missing my point. Put the violation to the person. Who is John Doe that's creating the issues?
I'll touch base with Kenny and Chief Quinn and see what
I had
we're
spoke to
doing.
Kenny. Kenny was all for it. He was all for it.
Okay, so we'll
So
pursue that
I'm
then.
coming back to you now again, you know, not so much to you, but the past administration, I'm asking you too. There's a lot of concern, you know, and everybody's locking down their doors, you know, you gotta constantly watch who's who. So if so-and-so assaulted his wife,
Okay. We'll
no
follow up on that.
that's what I'm saying.
I'll make
We
sure I
don't, we
get
don't need
you.
to know your business, but if you're not living like all the rest of us, then why is it that we protect you from the shame of what you've done to the village, whether it's graffiti, whether it's, as I had said before, but yet, me, taxpayer that's trying to do the right thing, law abiding, doesn't mean anything. So where is my safety?
So if a
Who's
four-
protecting me?
So if a 14-year-old kid gets arrested or gets charged or gets,
That's,
let
no,
me finish, let
that's
me finish.
against the law.
Let me finish.
He's a juvenile.
16 then,
He's
16,
a juvenile.
18.
That's
Is he a
okay.
juvenile still?
Sure, he's grown up,
So
right?
he gets caught with doing graffiti, you're gonna shun him?
Absolutely, because he might not do it a second time. You haven't raised any kids, I've raised 3.
No, I haven't, but I've
Exactly.
lived here.
Exactly.
And I was a
It
kid
only takes
here.
once,
I
show
was
me
a
it
kid
one
here.
time. You do something one time,
Okay.
that should do it.
I'll check with Chief Scott and we'll see what we can do about,
Yeah, it
particularly if
needs
he
to be
was,
addressed.
particularly if he was in favor of it, that's even better, because then.
Oh yeah, he was totally in favor of it.
Excellent. Any other comments? No, then can I bring up, yes, that's the one, can I bring up Mr. Wright?
Well, I'm glad
Mervyn
we
Wright is one of our civic group leaders, and I will let him tell you who he is.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up the subject of children. I came up in the 50s, I'm telling on my age, and Memorial Day was more than just, oh, it's a day off from school and you get to go to a barbecue or something on park. It was a lot more. We had to do essays, reports. We went to some kind of ceremony. Many of you, maybe you came up in the same situation. Now you fast forward to now, and that's what it is. It's just a day on the calendar that there's no school. And what do we get to do if we go to the arcade, barbecue? But they have no sense of what Memorial Day is. I'm proud to say that all the kids that I've had in a Memorial Day for 5 years, every time they had an essay or report to take in for school, they got an A. Because the other kids, they didn't really know what Memorial Day was. But the kids we've had have partaken of the little ceremony that we have over here. Talking about kids in the situation, believe it or not, places like Spring Valley look at Highland Falls as being squeaky clean. They, number one, is really, I lived there, it was really bad there, and they also canceled Memorial Day. So I have kids that, oh, can be participants in your Memorial Day up in Highland Falls. You hear about Spring Valley, you hear about Newburgh, you don't hear about Highland Falls in the news. So that, it's just interesting, it's well hidden, to address what the young lady was saying over here. If you read the papers, you found out, I'm a cancer patient, so I don't have the vigor and energy that I had before. And so even now, I was at home looking at this whole thing on Channel 23 until I could recover from the side effects from one of the drugs I had to take. But I do need help to keep this up. And we got kids from nearby towns coming, we got kids right here in town. It gives them a sense of morals and respect, a lot of that. And I have them speaking to me, and they speak to the other guys that wear their blue caps that says retiree. And they stop and say, hello, sir. And they ask sometimes about what I did in the military and a few questions like that. That's great. I mean, they should have some respect and a sense of all this, but especially on Memorial Day. Now, this drum was purchased by donations 5 years ago. And so there's so many kids that want to participate that I can't buy new drums, but I'm trying to repair the old ones, the ones that we started out with. I'm out here with a sign. Some people may have seen me a couple of times in a fundraiser. I like these pictures that our news reporter took. This young lady, it was 4 years old. This is now the parents getting involved. At 4 years old, you don't know about patriotism anymore. The parents wanted this to be instilled in their child early. So now she's 6. This was 2 years ago. Being in the Army, of course, I teach them to line up, because the first time we tried to do this, they came as a mob. So it's called drill and ceremony, and I'm trying to teach them that. This is another great picture that the media took of me in one of the ceremonies. So I'm asking for your support. I'm a musician. Administratively, I'm a little bit lacking. And there's another musician right here who plays the drums. And he's asking me, okay, what can I do? How can we put this together? This is a good thing to do with the kids. The park department, are they represented? Well, it doesn't matter. After Memorial Day, we go to Brown Pond and we have team sports and play and everything, and we learn teamwork, and doing that. Healthy stuff, okay? Because I listened well to what she was saying about the drugs. Once in a while, you catch a little glimpse of something shady going on a street corner, and then they scuttle around. But it's very minute, it seems. It's very little. But I guess it's there. It would be naive to think it's not there. So I'm looking for your support. There was some people that said, oh, I would like to donate. Before, we didn't have an organized account and all of that for big donations. But if you want to make a small donation, I know where it's going to go immediately before Monday coming up next.
How much did the drums go for?
I catch the sales. Nyack is a drum, it's a Long Island drum shop or something like that, and I run in and catch the sales. Usually they're like $100, and then I'll catch it for $50 or $49 because it hasn't sold, or a used drum for $25 or $30. And as far as repair, usually that's maybe $20 just to get it. Not this, a professional they would throw this away. But for a kid, they patch it up, they fix a spring part, and they probably charge about $20, $25 to refurbish it, just enough for a kid to play it. The amount of kids, I have maybe 15 drums, and it's not enough. I was surprised at how we have a small ceremony, but the kids, what they're going to do is they're going to march across on the other side of the street, cross over, play the drums. But the more important part is they're going to see what Memorial Day is all about and listen to the speech. It's just harder to get them to come and just stand there and listen to a speech. So they feel like they're participants, they're playing the drum, they're doing whatever. And then they go to the barbecue and all of the other fun stuff. So if I can get your support between now and, yes, this was one of the young.
Right, I told you a month ago.
Yes.
But I knew, that I would be willing to help you out.
Yes.
But I needed, who do I give it to?
Right,
Remember, I
right.
met you twice.
Unfortunately, what you have to do is give it to the mayor or
right,
or
that's
last
all I
resort,
wanted
give
to
it to
know.
me and make a note under for
Now, I
children's
don't think the
drumline.
mayor would like that.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't want to be responsible with his money, but.
I'll take it, Jim.
Huh?
I'll take it.
There you go. No.
Hey.
If
So
you
I'll
can
give
get
you a
actual,
check.
I'm sorry, Mr. Grant, go ahead.
That's all right. But who do, is it made out to? Who do we make the check out to?
Okay. Nervously, for this time, I'm going to say Herman Wright. Because I need short-term, small repairs between now and Memorial Day next Monday.
Yeah.
But we're trying to put together an account so that by the 4th of July, all of the kids that want to be in the 4th of July parade, and then donations come in, they'll come in to a structured account, and that's going to be at the credit union.
Do you already have the you have a not-profit set up already for your organization?
Unfortunately, when I did that in the very beginning several years ago, it had Christian something or another. And I kept being advised, you can't do that, you will exclude people if you do that. You have to have it children's this or
Okay.
music that.
Maybe in the short term, you can talk to the store down in Nyack, you said you go to?
Yes.
Maybe you can have, if you're gonna be purchasing equipment through them, work something out with them where checks can be made directly to them.
Okay.
And then you could, if you donate a $50 for short-term needs, but then you definitely probably wanna get an account going.
Yes.
If you're interested in helping Herman, check with Pat Kelly. Pat is on the school board, and he has offered to help get this organized. And the reason why I love to see it promoted is this is something that a lot of other towns don't have, and that makes us kind of special. And basically Herman's taking this on his back 100%. So if you do want to help out in any way, check with Pat Kelly. We'll get the proper paperwork done up.
But in the meantime, he says you need to.
Check with Pat Kelly. Touch base with Pat Kelly, he'll take care of it.
I just have a question, maybe, Kelly, you can help us with. When I was involved with the Chambers 5 years ago, and then of course it resolved and it came into our community, I mean, there may be something we could do for him. I don't know, I'm not a part of it now, but I received an email from West Point stating that when they resolved it inside and they gave it to our village, they had also gave, I'm not sure certain whether it was $5,000 or $6,000 came with the equipment, the da-da-da-da-da. So I don't know if there's anything, you could check in with past chambers from West Point to be certain that there was money available, because then maybe it'd be something the business, the Highland Falls chambers that they're getting ready to.
There's a Chamber of Commerce at West Point.
Yes, and it was West Point / Highland Falls Chambers. And then West Point gave it to the village, and so then we would meet like at Nicole's and, so on and so forth. But, because.
We'll look into that. Actually, I gotta, we're
Okay, well, all I'm
running out of
saying is
tape.
that if he needs money, maybe West Point can tell us whether, they gave us money.
Right, anybody that wants to help,
Find out how
check
we
with Pat
can
Kelly.
find
Pat
out
Kelly will
chambers'
head that up.
money. They said about $5,000.
Okay.
Great. The Highland Falls
We're gonna move on to board,
Chambers.
okay, we're gonna move on to board comments. Jim?
Yeah, I had a conversation with John Hager in regards to a few property maintenance issues, one on Kleitz, another on Drew, and also a continuing complaint. And I'm trying to figure out where the best place to put this is, because it seems to be a continuing problem in that area in regards to dogs. And, there's a lot of different municipality departments involved, dog control, animal control, police, code enforcement. There's an issue over in that area of the woods, and I'm just starting to scratch the surface on it. And also I'd like to comment that I was glad to see that we got our audit booklet in here from Nugent Hausler. I just started reading it, a lot of information. I suggest you guys take a good look at it, and that's all I have right now.
Bob? Stopped down the sewer plant today and checked out the digester, the project that'll be bonded up this evening. There's a lot of work to be done there. Sort of anxious to get that going, weather permitting type of thing. I don't know how long it actually takes, but talking to Johnny, I don't think it's too long a job, and I believe that it's something we should have done a long time ago, so we'll proceed with that and get that moving along. And the water tanks are impressive, actually. And the condition of the one they're doing now is quite good, and that was the larger one, and that's kind of, we've got to make some repairs here, so it's, we've got to spend some money, and I understand that. So looking forward to working with John on that, kind of looking at into the project when it gets started.
Mr. Brown? Charlie?
My only comment is to thank the board for the opportunity to go to NICOM last week. NICOM is the New York Conference of Mayors, and we attended a 3-day training session. I have attended them for a number of years in the past, but this was extraordinarily helpful. As a new trustee, being caught up to date on changes in the laws in Albany that impact us, and opportunities and little hints about how to handle things like negotiations for contracts. It was time really, really well spent. And just one other quick comment. Earlier we were talking about the potential of having another engineering firm go out looking for grants. I do know that Barton and LaJudas has a pretty good track record with Environmental Facilities Corporation. And, you know, I'm really talking off the top of my head here, but it might behoove us to ask them to see if they can get a no-interest loan out of EFC for the water tanks.
Exactly.
So that's it. Thank you.
I will say, I think that was explored. I mean, it was explored for sewer, and I think water, what, a year or two back. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying it was dried up.
One of the things we talked about a great deal in a couple of the sessions at NICOM